When I was a child, I used to live in a small city with my mom and dad. There were very few residents in that area, but there were a ton of old houses and buildings. Me, personally, I had felt a lot of creepy vibes in our house. It had nothing to do with something horrendous, such as a murderous intent or a suppressive feeling. There was just this creepy and unnatural feeling to it. One summer day, me and my family were at the local pool. My dad and mom had the day off, so me, my parents, and my older sister chose to head to the pool. Unfortunately, we had only gotten there for an hour or two when it unexpectedly began to rain. We stood there hoping that it would stop raining, but it only got progressively worse. After half an hour or so, it began thundering and lightning became visible in the distance. Seeing that it would be too dangerous to still be outdoors, the pool staff decided to close down the pool for the day. Before going home, we stopped at a small grocery store and made sure to stock up on food and supplies in case things got even worse. When we got home, my mom tells me to put the frozen food in the freezer outside. I walked over to the freezer, which was just outside our back door on the porch, when I got this dreadful feeling. I ignored it, thinking that maybe the day was about to become much worse, and called it my intuition. Well, as I was packing the things, out of my peripheral vision, I saw a black figure. It had a body of a human, but that was practically all I could make out of it. As I began turning my head, the figure had simply vanished. At this point, I thought that the weather was really getting to me, so I quickly packed the rest, shut the freezer lid, and went back indoors. Nothing happened for the rest of the day until bedtime. When I laid in bed, I had this sharp pain in my stomach. It wouldn't go away, and I was forced to mentally block it out just so I could get some rest. In my house, we have an attic. The attic isn't used at all, other than to store some unused things, such as books and sports equipment. We never had much use for it, and found it rather a waste of space. To get to the attic, you had to walk down the hallway opposite the washroom to the very end of the hallway and go up a series of steps. Well, that night, I had a terrible and lucid dream. I had just finished using the washroom and began walking back to my room. I began hearing someone's voice coming from the other side of the house. It felt familiar, yet unfamiliar at the same time. I began walking towards it, closing the distance between me and the strange voice. As I kept walking, I located the sound, realizing that it was coming from the attic. I slowly walked up the steps to the attic and grabbed the doorknob. At that very moment, my stomach began aching in so much pain. Much more painful than before I had fallen asleep. The door opened without me even turning it or pushing it. It revealed an empty room with nothing except the freezer we had outside. The sound had stopped. I knew not to move at this point. I stopped my legs from taking another step forward, but the freezer was coming towards me, getting closer and closer to me, as if having a life of its own. I wanted to stop it from moving. I wanted to put my hands up and cover my face, but I couldn't. I could feel my limbs, my blood moving in the veins, but I could not for the life of me move. The freezer got right in my face when a black figure appeared from behind it. It lunged towards me and I fell backwards. Blood began spewing out of my mouth like a waterfall. I couldn't breathe. I finally woke up, drenched in sweat. I laid in bed for what felt like an eternity, not wanting to move, not knowing if there was something with me in my room. All I knew was that it was still dark outside. With all my might and courage, I looked at my clock. It read 3:50 a.m. After laying there for another 20 or 30 minutes, I ended up falling back asleep. I don't know if all of this has any meaning, and I don't believe in ghosts or anything like that, but that nightmare really gave me a scare. For some reason, after that nightmare, I felt that there was a strong presence in the house, lurking at every corner and watching us. Fortunately, after a year, we moved out of there and moved to a larger city. Since then, I haven't experienced anything nearly as scary or horrifying as that. But to this very day, the nightmare still sticks with me. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you are doing well. I want to give a huge thanks to Mary Rocco for her drawing of the first two scenes. Without her help, this video would not have been completed at this time. If you want to check out her stuff, I'll put her Instagram handle in the description down below. Also, if you have a scary story that you would like to be animated, do not hesitate to contact me through email. You can find it in the About section on my channel page. I will also drop it down in the description below. Again, thank you for watching.